Where am I? Suddenly, Fang Yun, who had been lying in bed and slept dead after returning home from overtime a second ago, raised his head and looked at the strange and familiar classroom in front of him. Machine. The sunlight outside the window is exceptionally bright, and it is reflected in the classroom through the clear window. On the podium, a female teacher in her 30s was writing something on the board with her back to the crowd, while the students under the stage were whispering to each other while the teacher was not paying attention. No one noticed the last row of the classroom. Fang Yun was stunned in the corner. Ding, the almighty auxiliary system has been bound, please check it as soon as possible. In a daze, Fang Yun suddenly heard a cold electronic reminder sound coming from his mind, and the content of the other party's reminder made him completely dumbfounded. System? Dude, is this reborn? Fang Yun is not stupid. As an old fritter who has been reading online articles for more than 10 years, the prompt sound in his mind combined with the scene in front of him instantly made him realize that he might have hit the big luck. So after being stunned for a while, he quickly came to his senses, and he didn't care what year and month he was in right now, so he hurriedly recited system in his heart. Hello, host, what can I help you with? Following his silent recitation, the electronic prompt sounded in his mind again. What exactly is this all-around assistance system used for? As soon as the other party appeared, Fang Yun immediately asked in his mind. Answer to the host, the omnipotent assistance system can help the host grow into the of games in this world. The host only needs to enter the hottest game to activate and view the details. The hottest game right now? Noticing these keywords, Fang Yun couldn't help frowning. It's been less than 10 minutes since he woke up, let alone the hottest game right now, he doesn't even know what year and month it is now. The system told him that if he wanted to know more details, he needed to check in the hottest game at the moment, so what he can do now is to know the current time and which is the hottest game as soon as possible. He glanced left and right, and as the dusty memory in his mind gradually became clear, he finally recalled it. This seems to be his high school, and the woman on the podium should be the Chinese teacher Lu Sui, who is privately called Dominatrix by the classmates. Lu Sui was the Chinese teacher of their class when they were in their first year of high school, but was transferred to another class to be the head teacher in their third year of high school. So at least one thing is certain, the current time point is either the first year of high school or the second year of high school. And Fang Yun was a good student who often ranked among the top grades in his first year of high school, but he delayed his studies because of his addiction to games, so that his grades plummeted from the future star in the eyes of the teacher to the stinky that he disliked when he looked at it more. At first, Fang Yun, who became a poor student, was arranged by the head teacher alone on the edge of the podium. Later, because he broke the tank, he only knew how to sleep all day long. As a result, he was transferred to the corner of the last row of the class by the completely disappointed head teacher. During the first semester of high school, although the sun is shining outside, but by observing the thick clothes of the classmates at the front desk and the bare trees outside the window, it can be determined that it should be the cold winter and the 12th lunar month, and the winter vacation should not be far away at this time. Therefore, after some sorting out, Fang Yun can at least determine that he is now at the end of the second semester of high school, which is around December 2004 or January 2005. And if you say that the most popular game during this period, then it is definitely the fantasy Westward journey that exploded the game world as soon as it came out. In fact, strictly speaking, there are still many popular games during this period, not to mention World of Warcraft, which will be publicly tested in China in a few months. However, due to the high requirements for computer hardware and entry barriers for World of Warcraft and similar 3D games, its popularity is simply not comparable to Fantasy Westward Journey. After confirming the approximate time, Fang Yun began to think about the next plan without stopping. It is now around 2005. The most popular online game is Fantasy Westward Journey. If nothing else, this game and the help of the omnipotent auxiliary system in your mind, it seems that it is just around the corner to reach the peak of life. In fact, the main culprit that made him fall from a good student to a poor student in his previous life was the game fantasy Westward Journey. If he hadn't woken up in time in his third year of high school and had been catching up, he might have even missed his graduation. But his last life was a matter of his last life after all. Today, he has the opportunity to start all over again, so naturally he will not let the tragedy happen again. Quiet. Just when he thought to himself that he would quickly find an internet cafe to board the fantasy Westward Journey to check the system details after school, Lu Sui's stern shout from the podium suddenly interrupted his thoughts. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com. As the chatter in the classroom stopped for a moment, Lu Sui, a Chinese teacher with a beautiful face, put away her solemn expression, pointed to the blackboard sideways and said, "I have written down the next school start date and winter vacation precautions on the blackboard. Students must read the afterword carefully, do you know in your heart?" Following the teacher's voice, Fang Yun looked up at the blackboard, and saw that school starts on February 28, 2005 was written in the first row. So, today happens to be the last day of the first half of high school. Combined with Lu Sui's words just now, Fang Yun immediately understood the current situation, and couldn't help feeling excited. Fang Yun was an orphan. In his last life, he didn't know who his parents were until he was reborn. At the same time, his presence in the orphanage was extremely low, which is why he went from a good student to an internet addict for over a year but was completely ignored. As an invisible person in the eyes of the vast majority of people, Fang Yun's source of income after he became an internet-addicted teenager completely relied on fantasy Westward Journey. In other words, he should be regarded as one of the very first batch of online game movers. He took out his pocket, and as he took out several crumpled paper notes of different denominations from his pocket, Fang Yun lowered his head and began to count his current savings one by one. A few bills were quickly counted, and the total deposit of 81 yuan made him sigh, thinking that although my buddy came back and got the golden finger, he was still a poor man for the time being. However, something is better than nothing. As a rebirth, with the help of the all-around auxiliary system, he doesn't believe that he can still be worse than his previous life, and as the starting point for his new life to take off, he is naturally a fan of the game fantasy Westward Journey. Must be in. A few minutes later, when the get-out-of-class bell rang, the students who were sitting at the desk suddenly became restless. And Lu Sui didn't mean to drag the hall, and told everyone to pay attention to safety during the winter vacation and remember to write their homework for the winter vacation before leaving. As the teacher left, the whole classroom felt like a frying pan in an instant. The male and female classmates were either discussing where to play later, or they were quickly packing their school bags and preparing to go home. The word Fang Yun heard the most from the various discussions in the classroom was Fantasy Westward Journey, which made him a little puzzled. Although Fantasy Westward Journey is indeed very popular these days, it is not so popular that everyone knows it. Degree? With this doubt, he casually swept the winter vacation homework from the teacher into his school bag, rejected the invitations of several neighboring classmates, and left the classroom. As the crowd descended the stairs to the first floor, Fang Yun involuntarily stopped when passing a full-length mirror, looking at the handsome young man in the mirror who looked a little thin due to long-term malnutrition. His eyes flashed a trace of emotion. From a little discomfort just after being reborn to now calm, Fang Yun's adaptation speed is very fast. And the reason why he was able to adapt so quickly was not because of how nervous he was, but because he didn't have people or things that he was particularly reluctant to give up in his previous life, and rebirth was more like a change of living environment for him. After leaving the campus, Fang Yun's goal was very clear, and he quickly came to an internet cafe called Zhongtong Century along the unfamiliar road with a little familiarity. Ignoring the posters of Fantasy Westward Journey that he wanted to plaster all over the internet cafe, Fang Yun skillfully paid the money and got the number on the computer. Such an old program is like DNA imprinted in his bones. Muscle memory is generally familiar. After circling several times in the huge internet cafe, Fang Yun finally found an vacant computer. He quickly pulled out the chair and sat forward. At a glance, he saw 3 or 4 guys dressed as students looking annoyed. Stopped the steps that were about to rush over. Fortunately, my buddies are quick-witted. These days are the most popular time for internet cafes. Usually, you have to line up to surf the internet, not to mention the winter vacation today. He breathed a sigh of relief, and after secretly rejoicing in his heart, Fang Yun entered the boarding account password to enter the desktop, controlled the mouse to tap on the icon of Fantasy Westward Journey, and the familiar game interface suddenly appeared in front of him. Looking at the 4 characters of Fantasy Westward Journey that appeared in front of him, Fang Yun couldn't help sighing in his heart. My buddy came back from rebirth more than 10 years ago and went to an internet cafe to play games without hugging Shuangma's thighs. Thinking about it is nonsense. But to be honest, even if he knows the development trend of the next 10 years better than anyone now, as a high school student in his early 17 years, he can't touch that level without any capital and relationships. And compared to the illusory idea of holding 2 horses and thighs, how to use the Fantasy Westward Journey and the all-round assistance system in his mind to reach the peak of life seems more reliable, so he quickly cleared the confusion in his mind and focused on it again. Back to the monitor in front of you. The computer configuration of today's internet cafes is no different from antiques in the eyes of Fang Yun, who returned from time to time in 2021, but he didn't care about these details. He controlled the mouse to quickly click the next step, and he didn't stop until the interface for entering the account password appeared. Depend on. Looking at the account and password input interface that appeared in front of him, Fang Yun was stunned for 2 seconds and then suddenly couldn't help but burst into a rude sentence, because he just realized one thing, and he didn't remember the year 2005 when he came back from more than 10 years later. Fantasy Westward Journey account password. After trying hard to recall it for a long time, he still couldn't remember it. In the end, he could only give up, and decided to create a new account to advance the game. But when he finished registering a new account and was about to enter the game, a prompt on the announcement list caught his attention. Latest trends: the new service Bianliang City was opened at 12 o'clock noon on January 19. New service Bianliang City? January 19th. Seeing the announcement of the new server, Fang Yun couldn't help being stunned. His memory has always been good. In his impression, the district of Bianliang City was indeed opened in early 2005, but he clearly remembered that the opening date of Bianliang City should be mid-February, right? He hurriedly clicked on the date in the lower right corner of the computer and looked at the Friday, January 19, 2005 displayed on it. He finally made sure that he read it right. This Bianliang City really opened earlier than he remembered. It's really weird. Once again, there was a situation that did not match his memory, and Fang Yun finally realized that something was wrong. First of all, there are various discussions about Fantasy Westward Journey that I heard in school before. This phenomenon has also occurred in the previous life, but there is no such a grand event that is almost known to the whole people. Then there is the Bianliang City server that opened nearly half a month earlier than I remembered. One of the two may be nothing, but together, it makes people doubtful. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com while manipulating the mouse to enter the newly opened Bianliang City server to line up to select a character, Fang Yun glanced around. He soon discovered the third abnormality, that is, all the computers around him were running Fantasy Westward Journey, and he couldn't see other types of games at all. It's not that there is anything wrong with this situation. The 2005 Fantasy Westward Journey in the previous life was also very popular. He still remembered the scene of a person playing and a group of people watching from behind. The reason why he felt that something was wrong was because the proportion of players playing Fantasy Westward Journey in this internet cafe was too exaggerated. Even if fantasy became so popular in the previous life, there are still a lot of CS players in the internet cafe, but this phenomenon has disappeared now. Now, Fantasy Westward Journey has almost become a standard game for every player who comes to internet cafes. The dream of this world doesn't seem to be the same as what I remember. As more and more anomalies were discovered, Fang Yun finally realized one thing. Although most of the world is no different from the 2005 in his memory, only the game Fantasy Westward Journey is not quite right. It seems much hotter than the previous life. But, does this seem like a good thing to him? Thinking that the more popular Fantasy Westward Journey, the greater the benefits he can get, Fang Yun finally stopped worrying about it and focused his attention back on the game. For him, which server he plays on is actually the same. Since this Bianliang City is a new server that just opened today, he naturally decided to choose this server to enter. Throwing off the miscellaneous thoughts in his mind, after lining up for a long time to finally establish a character, he tapped on the sign to enter the game, and a blue-clothed black-haired swordsman named Jian Cheng appeared in Jianyi City. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully entering the designated game. The all-round assistance system has been successfully activated. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the passive skills Energy Enhancement, Physical Strength Enhancement, Brain Power Enhancement, Primary. The enhancement effect is 50%. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the skill Air Luck Enhancement, Primary. Air Luck accumulates 1 point per hour, and each use of the skill consumes a minimum of 10 points and can accumulate a maximum of 100 points. The first use is free, and the specific functions are requested by the host themselves. Fumble, game only. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the passive skill Consumption Rebate, Primary. The host has a chance to get all the rebates, 50% chance, for all consumption in the game, and there is a certain chance to appear critical strike when the rebate is triggered, 50% chance, violent hit bonus 200%. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the skill Wealth Withdrawal, Primary. The in-game wealth can be withdrawn through the system, and the withdrawal ratio is 10,000:1, only for Fantasy Westward Journey. Only for the wealth obtained by the host himself, with a daily limit of 10,000 yuan, there is a certain chance to trigger critical strike when withdrawing, 50% chance, 200% crit bonus. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining Hosting Assistant, Primary. The Hosting Assistant can help the host to take over the account to operate when needed. The host only needs to set specific operation items in his mind, limited to one account after the host. You only need to recite the system menu in your mind to call out the virtual menu options. When using a skill, you only need to point to the corresponding active skill icon and recite it silently. Hearing the prompts that sounded one after another in his mind at the moment of entering the game, Fang Yun opened his mouth slightly, and his whole body was sluggish. It took several minutes to digest the series of system prompts in his mind. Fang Yun's already excited hands couldn't help but tremble slightly. The skills that the system had given him just now was a heaven-defying existence, but he obtained a lot of them at one time. Although these skills are marked primary regardless of whether they are passive or active, even so, the attributes of these skills are exaggerated enough in his opinion. For example, the energy, physical strength and mental strength that he obtained at the beginning, when the system prompt sounded, he felt that his whole person's state had undergone earth-shaking changes. This kind of change is difficult to describe in words. In general, he has changed from the inside out. Now, even if he plays games or studies all night for several consecutive nights, he will not feel too tired and absorb knowledge. The speed has also grown exponentially. And the skill-enhanced luck shocked him even more. Although the system said that the specific function needs to be explored on his own, he can roughly understand the effect of this skill only from the literal meaning. Fantasy Westward Journey has been a game with a very heavy proportion of luck from its public beta until 2021. With luck, there are countless Uhuang who have reached the pinnacle of life with this game. But at the same time, even those unlucky non-emirates have lost their money even if they have a lot of wealth, and the appearance of air luck enhancement is very likely to help him avoid all the deep pits, and since then he has become a veritable super European emperor. As for consumption rebate, wealth withdrawal, and management assistant, there is no need to say more. With the help of these 3 skills, he can not only be the best in the game, but also can reach the pinnacle of life in reality. As the excitement gradually calmed down, Fang Yun took a deep breath, no longer caring about the large number of skills he had just acquired, but controlled the swordsman in the game to walk towards the pet fairy. With the familiar Jianyi city appearing on the computer screen, the picture is cute and the music is brisk, and the familiar and unfamiliar game instantly pulls Fang Yun back to the best era of fantasy Westward Journey. The reason why it is said that this is the best era of fantasy Westward Journey is because the fantasy of this period is the real authentic flavor. 12 classic sects and characters of the 3 races of human beings, fairy and demons compete for beauty in the hands of players. There are no trivial tasks in the dreams of the future, and there are no redundant character decorations and various mounts. Everything is so simple and easy to see at a glance, but at the same time, one player after another is intoxicated and unable to extricate himself. With her own plan, she changed and changed the ring monster again and again, and finally her daughter, the star of the village, Nini, left the scene. 3 knives are over, you don't end me. For the first time, many players have seen what is the ultimate damage of the 5 forces Datang leader 3 swords ended. The eagle smashed into the sky, smashing 10,000 with one blow, and the cannon between the slaughtering robots that maximized the facial injuries of Shichuling. Countless amazing players have jointly pushed the game Fantasy Westward Journey to one peak after another. But Fang Yun, who witnessed and participated in it almost the whole time, has now got a chance to start over. What he has to do is very simple, that is, to imprint his name in the history of this game, and he has to do that the most shining existence. Bianliang City is a new area that just opened at noon today. Even though more than 5 hours have passed, Jianyi City is still blocked by new players, and the network has completely inherited the characteristics of Wanji. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Ding. The first phase of the newcomer incentive task released, the host level reaches level 10. Reward, 1 million fantasy coins. Just received a puppy from the pet fairy. Fang Yun didn't have time to change the pet's name when he heard the system prompt again in his mind. Upgrade to level 10 to reward 1 million fantasy coins. Fang Yun felt a little surprised that he immediately received a newcomer motivational quest with very rich rewards after entering the game to receive a lot of skills. But soon he realized one more thing, the cash carrying limit of a level 10 character seems to be only 200,000, right? The cash carrying limit set by Wanji is very tricky. As long as the game coins that exceed the upper limit will be confiscated by the system after going offline, most players only choose to buy temporarily when they need a lot of game coins. The Dream Bank in 2005 shared the upper limit with the cash on the body. If he didn't want nearly 800,000 game coins to be confiscated by the system, Fang Yun had to level up all night today and try to consume all the extra game coins. He could sell these fantasy coins to other people at a very high rate, but then he couldn't explain how he got such a large amount of money on the first day of the server. And just a few days later, the proportion of fantasy coins will begin to decline, and the income from selling to players is not as good as selling to the system. It was the first time in his 2 lifetimes that he was troubled by a lot of money, and Fang Yun felt a little bit dumbfounded, but 1 million game coins was a huge sum of money at this stage, and he couldn't give up anyway. Packing up his mood, Fang Yun controlled his character and ran non-stop towards the East Bay outside the city. Who can tell me how to get to the East Bay number? Crap, come and play +++++++++++ enlisted with weapons Q1++++++++ East Gulf leveling up, come to increase your strength. Looking for a husband, Datang is the priority number. Rose, I'm stuck on the garbage net. Number disdain. Along the way, there are players' chat boxes everywhere. Such a grand event made Fang Yun feel a sense of pride. Lao Tzu. I'm back. Just Alt+T click on the team that asked for power up in the East Bay to apply for joining the team. After a few seconds, Fang Yun's character hit a card and successfully joined the opponent's team. opened the team list and glanced at it. The high-strength leader was the Tigread monster who just shouted. This guy's name is also very interesting. He is called Beast with a cute face, which is unique in this non-mainstream era. The level of the cute beast is level 1. The remaining 4 are 2 swordsmen, a Xiao Aisheng and a dragon prince. Fang Yun is also level 0, but there is no difference. Do you all know how to play? Remember to increase your power after leveling up later, otherwise you won't be able to beat the monsters, do you know? With Fang Yun joining the team, the 5-person team is already full, and the cute beast typed a few paragraphs on the team interface to remind the players to remember to increase their strength. I know the captain, let's go. Yes, the internet fee is very expensive. The reminder of the cute-faced beast seems to make the other members of the team a little impatient. In fact, players who can realize that they can increase their strength and level up quickly are not new. For example, Fang Yun chose to join the team because of the 3 words strength, and the reminder of the cute beast is completely nonsense to them. After being urged by his teammates for a few words, the cute-faced beast stopped dawdling, and took the team directly from Jianyi City to the East Bay outside. Just arrived in the East Bay, with the familiar battle music playing in the headphones, the first game battle of Fang Yun's rebirth finally started. On the opposite side are 2 rows of 10 full-sized sea turtles, and Fang Yun's side is 5 big men with bare hands. After 2 seconds, after everyone has completed the operation, the highest level cute-faced beast takes the lead in moving towards the first in the lower left corner. The big turtle in the row attacked. With a bang, a damage of 29 floated from the top of the turtle's head, and Fang Yun followed closely behind, also dealing 21 points of damage to the turtle. Although this team is made up of 5 veterans, the so-called veterans are also divided. Although the cute-faced beast and the other 3 teammates are a little more skilled than most players in this year, they are extremely limited, and they are completely incomparable with a guy like Fang Yun who was reborn in 2021. So after Fang Yun made a move, the other 3 followed suit, but their goals were different. They beat the bells and bangs, highlighting a disorganized and undisciplined one. However, Fang Yun didn't care much. Players in this period knew that it would be good to increase their strength and level up in the early stage, and he didn't dare to hope for more. The 5 people in the team were a blast against the 10 big turtles. Although the punches were out of order, they still managed to end the battle after a while. After a battle, the team continued to walk towards the depths of the East Bay under the leadership of the cute beast. After more than half an hour, the team with all the personnel upgraded to level 5 began to head towards the wreck on the bottom of the sea. The swordsman in the team named Riding a Pig Chasing the Sun kept shouting that he wanted to catch a sea caterpillar with full skills, and the other named Heli 111, Xiao Yao's Hung, figured out how long it would take to get to level 10 and leave Jianyi. After walking around the first floor of the sunken ship for a few laps, under the urging of Riding a Pig to chase the sun, the cute beast started to lead everyone to the second floor, and the moment the team reached the second floor, they entered the battle again. Cute-faced beast, number glare heat 111, number stare chasing the sun on a pig, number glare Guangong plays a big gun, number glare at the moment of entering the battle, the team chat box was immediately swiped by 4 staring expressions. Fang Yun, who realized the problem, quickly swept to the monster pile, and his heart also froze for a while. It turned out that it appeared on the far right of the second row. Got a sea blue mutant sea caterpillar. Is this all right? Looking at the fluffy mutant sea caterpillar baby huddled in the corner of the monster pile, Fang Yun felt very surprised. As a professional African chieftain for decades, he has long developed the habit of not believing in his own character. In the event of a mutation, it cannot be said that he is completely out of luck, but the probability is low enough to be comparable to winning a lottery ticket. So the moment he saw this mutant sea caterpillar, he couldn't help but feel a little excited. It wasn't to say how strange this thing was. The point of his excitement was that he found that he seemed to have been transported since he came back from his rebirth. And just when he was secretly excited, the other friends in the team were so excited that they could barely control themselves. If it is said that Fang Yun is excited because he finds out that he has been transferred, the reason why other friends in the team are excited is much more simple, that is, he has never seen it. That's right, the reason is that simple. Although it has been more than a year since the public beta of Fantasy Westward Journey in late 2003, most of the players actually came after the release of the first expansion piece Happy Homeland in late July 2004. Only joined one after another, Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com, and at the end of the year successfully exceeded 340,000 people online at the same time, and then it was out of control. The Mutant Summoned Beast was launched together with the Happy Homeland expansion, and it is less than half a year away from now. Although the Fantasy Westward Journey of this world is obviously several times more popular than the previous life, and the number of online users may have already exceeded the previous record of 2.71 million, but the same thing is that the Mutant Summoned Beast is definitely a treasure in this day and age. The dream baby of many players. Hurry up! Hurry up! I forgot to pick up the pet. Come on, hairy monkey, it's all up to you. It turns out that the mutant sea caterpillars are so beautiful. As the countdown went by every second, the excited friends in the team began to operate their pets to capture this rare mutant sea caterpillar. The other three were fine, only the prince long named Guangong playing with a big gun wanted to cry but had no tears at this time, and kept writing the crying emoji in the team chat box. Because he immediately joined the team and followed the monsters in order to quickly level up, so that he didn't even visit the pet fairy, so naturally he had no chance with the mutant sea caterpillar in front of him. Looking at the little friends in the team who could not wait to fight for a mutant sea caterpillar, Fang Yun felt a little nervous in his heart. Everyone wants mutant babies, and he is no exception. But he is very clear that at this stage, catching the baby is entirely based on the face. Even if he has a system and is a reborn person, it is not easy to do it. The so-called equality of all beings is probably like this. Thanks for watching, please subscribe. And many more. Just when he clicked Alt+G to aim at the mutant sea caterpillar to complete the capture operation, he suddenly remembered something. It seems that when he first entered the game to activate the system gave him a free right to use the luck enhancement skill. He hurriedly called out the system menu silently in his heart, looking at the free for the first time use behind the luck enhancement icon at the top of the menu. He was instantly settled, and immediately pointed at the luck enhancement icon and recited use. With his silent recitation, the sign of free for the first time on the menu instantly dimmed. At the same time, other teammates in the game had already begun to capture the mutant sea caterpillars, and Fang Yun's eyelids were twitching. The first to take action was still the Tigread monster with a cute face and a beast. His pet was also a little tiger. He saw the little tiger shaking his head and swaying to the front of the mutant sea caterpillar. After beckoning, he turned around and returned to his owner, while the mutant sea caterpillar followed. It slowly walked towards the cute beast from the back of its butt. But it's a pity, I don't know if it was because of the influence of Fang Yun's luck enhancement or simply bad luck. The mutant sea caterpillar suddenly turned around and returned to the pile of monsters when it was halfway there. The angry cute beast fought in the team. Heaps of number disdain. And right after the cute beast was Fang Yun, and he saw him let out a puppy and quickly walked towards the mutant sea caterpillar that had just returned to the monster pile. The chat box of the team was unusually calm at this time, but Fang Yun knew that everyone must be sweating at this time, and he was no exception. As the mutant sea caterpillar carried by the puppy got closer and closer to him, Fang Yunxin had already mentioned it in his throat. Because this mutated sea caterpillar capture not only determines whether he needs to worry about finding a suitable baby for a while, but also proves whether the skill of fortune enhancement is as powerful as he thought. A second later, as the puppy and the mutant sea caterpillar disappeared in front of Jian Cheng, Fang Yun in front of the screen suddenly let out a sigh of relief. In addition to his excitement, his eyes became brighter than ever before. It's over. Congratulations, congratulations, number open smiles. Why would I forget to get my pet number crep number crepple, hurry up and take a look at it, brother. As the mutant sea caterpillar was safely captured by Fang Yun, congratulations from his teammates followed. Except for riding a pig chasing the sun, who was ranked third in speed and had no chance to make a move, he fell into autism after saying a word, and everyone else was urging him to hurry up and take a look at the baby's attributes. With his luck enhancement skills, he successfully captured this mutant sea caterpillar that made everyone envious. Fang Yun only felt refreshed at this time, and he did not hesitate to hear the words. He directly opened the pet interface and faced the mutant sea caterpillar he just got left. Key and shift posted properties. Attack qualification, 1555 defense qualification, 1003 physical qualification, 2756 mana qualification, 1121 speed qualification, 1309 dodge qualification, 1171 lifespan, 7701 skills, killing, night fighting, poison, advanced anti-shock, weakness fire. Looking at the aptitude and skills of this mutant sea caterpillar, not only the teammates were stunned, but even Fang Yun himself was amazed. It's normal for the aptitude of mutant summoned beasts to surpass the full aptitude of ordinary summoned beasts, but what surprised him was that this mutant sea caterpillar not only had nearly perfect aptitude, but was also full of skills. During this period, the summoned beasts of Fantasy Westward Journey could not directly check the growth from the qualification interface, but as an old player Fang Yun glanced at the various data of this sea caterpillar and quickly calculated it in his head. It only took a moment for Fang Yun to accurately calculate the growth rate of this sea caterpillar, 3.17. 3.17. This growth rate is probably not familiar to new players after 2007. In fact, the calculation method of this growth rate was invented by the players themselves before the official growth rate of Summoned Beast was launched in 2007. The data obtained after a series of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of the Qi, blood and physical fitness level of the Summoned Beast. And this sea caterpillar's growth rate of 3.17 is actually full growth, which is 1.03 when converted into a more well-known growth calculation method in later generations. Explosion. This is the evaluation given by Fang Yun after calculating the growth of this sea caterpillar. No matter aptitude, skill, or growth, it can only be described as an explosion. He guessed that the reason why the aptitude skill of this mutant sea caterpillar is so powerful is probably not related to the ability to strengthen the luck, because there are variants with high aptitude, and there are variants with full skills, but the probability of satisfying these 2 points at the same time is too low. He didn't think that he, including these guys in the team, could have such unbelievable luck. He couldn't find any other reason for the time being other than the blessing of enhanced luck. Can't you sell it, buddy? I'll pay 50 yuan, and you promise me to go to the bank to transfer money to you right away. Just as he was admiring this mutant sea caterpillar with no dead ends in all directions while fighting monsters with Alt+A, the cute-faced beast who led the team suddenly typed and asked in the team. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com 50 yuan to buy a mutant sea caterpillar? This big tiger burns a lot of money, right? Seeing that the cute beast suddenly had to spend 50 yuan to buy this mutant sea caterpillar from him, Fang Yun felt speechless at first. You must know that it is just 2005, and the monthly income per capita is only in the early 1000s. Most players need to be careful when charging a $5 point card. How can there be a cute beast who starts buying a baby before level 10? And it's still a low-level baby that can be brought by level 5. He admits that this mutant sea caterpillar, which is explosive in all aspects, is almost invincible at this stage, but its value preservation period is too short. With more and wider choices, there is no need to spend money on a mutant sea caterpillar that will not last for a few days on the first day. I'm sorry, I plan to use this baby for myself, sorry. Although he felt that this big tiger was a bit stupid and rich, Fang Yun didn't intend to have a bad relationship with him. Because although this guy has some impulsive consumption, it can be seen from the way he talks and does things that he is an adult, and his income should not be low. This kind of person has the potential to become a big boss in the district. In easy to understand terms, this guy is a potential fat sheep, and it is very suitable for Fang Yun to be slaughtered. The other three friends in the team were stunned when they heard the offer of the cute beast. They are all ordinary people, and even two of them are students. Like Fang Yun, they went to the internet cafe to play fantasy after the winter vacation. This scene of throwing money at a disagreement was quite shocking to them in this era, so no one said a word for a while, quietly watching how the situation on the field would develop next. 100. Seeing that Lin Cheng didn't have the slightest touch after hearing his offer, he directly stated that he would not sell it. After being silent for a few seconds, the cute beast suddenly made another offer, and directly doubled the original offer. It really is a fat sheep. The other party's reoffer did not exceed Fang Yun's expectations. Just like what Lee Chen-gru said in the movie Big Shot, the owner who is willing to pay $2,000 to buy a house doesn't care about paying another $2,000. This cute beast in front of him. Probably so. It is a pity that Fang Yun never planned to sell it from the beginning. On the one hand, this mutant sea caterpillar is suitable for him. If he sells it, it will be difficult to find a suitable baby. On the other hand, it is because he has not had time to do it yet. Bank card, no way to accept transfers at all. Sorry. This time, Fang Yun's answer is much more concise. Since he doesn't intend to sell it, he must be decisive. He believes that this cute-faced beast should be able to realize from his two unthinking rejections that he really does not intend to sell this baby. Sure enough, the cute-faced beast who was rejected for another purchase did not entangle anymore, and continued to lead the team to pick up monsters on the second floor of the sunken ship. After being silent for a while, the team became lively again. The two consecutive quotations made by the cute beast not only made Fang Yun realize that this was a local tyrant, but also made the other three people in the team realize. Local tyrants these days are even rarer than mutant babies. With the support of the three new fans, the cute beast soon forgot the loss of being rejected by Fang Yun just now, and began to chat with his teammates in full swing. While chatting with the cute beast, the three teammates in the team couldn't help laughing when they saw Fang Yun in the corner with the mutant sea caterpillar he just caught silently slashing the output. A mere 5th level mutant sea caterpillar was not sold for 100 yuan, what is this idiot? You must know that even a divine beast can sell for 1 or 2,000 these days. It is not that the divine beast is worthless, but the general income of everyone at this time is not high. A divine beast may be equivalent to an ordinary person's salary for 1 or 2 months. Few people will invest 1 or 2 months' salary into this game without knowing what the prospects of this game are. A player like a cute beast who dares to offer 100 yuan for a mutant sea caterpillar is definitely a local tyrant in these years. Once a character like this is stupid and rich, he must not let it go easily. Fang Yun's choices appear to them to be no different from fools. Fang Yun's teammates' thoughts are unknown. He is now calculating how long it will take him to reach level 10. In order to avoid being forced to get off the plane when the time was up, when he was going to the toilet just now, he stopped by the front desk to do it all night and charged a 150-point card to his account. Fang Yun is not actually a leveling madman, but with all the stimulation given by the almighty auxiliary system, he can't be indifferent no matter how salted the fish is. And the first goal he set for himself was to work hard to upgrade in the game to make money, and then use fortune withdrawal to buy or rent a house with his own private space before the end of the winter vacation. It's not easy to accomplish this goal, but Fang Yun is confident. No matter how he is now, he is a reborn person with golden fingers. If he can't even accomplish such a small goal, he might as well just find a piece of tofu and kill him. While with a golden light bathing his body, Fang Yun, who finally reached level 10 after nearly 2 hours of struggle, only felt a burst of relief. The fantasy westward journey in 2005 was so real. In the future, it took only a few minutes before and after a few mouse clicks to get to level 10, but now it takes 2 hours. This is still based on the fact that all players in the team can play. Ding, the first phase of the newcomer incentive task has been completed. Reward, 1 million fantasy coins have been issued, please pay attention to the host. With the familiar sound of the system lifting in his mind, Fang Yun watched as the cash in his suitcase changed from 3,100 taels to 1,003,100 taels in an instant, which seemed like a conjuration at first glance. Please note that the maximum amount of character cash and silver deposits can only be combined with level times 2,000 plus 10,000, and the maximum amount cannot exceed 20 million. The excess part will disappear after 5 to 5 minutes of offline, please pay attention to deal with it in time. Just when he was thinking about how to spend the 1 million yuan, the system cash limit reminder of Fantasy Westward Journey came along with him. Just click on the cash limit prompt, and Fang Yun's mind followed by a new prompt from the all-around assistance system. Ding, the second stage of the newcomer incentive task release, the host level reaches level 20. Reward, 5 million fantasy coins. Sharp. The second phase of the mission that followed made Fang Yun realize that as long as he worked hard to upgrade, he would not be short of fantasy coins, and he even had to figure out a way to spend the over-limited game coins before he went offline. Just drop it. Brothers, shall we go directly to the big wild goose pagoda from the wild in the south of the Yangtze River? Just after recovering from the huge amount of fantasy coins rewarded by the second stage mission, Fang Yun saw the cute beasts leading the team typing and asking everyone in the team. Walk around number applause. Wait a minute, I have to fill up a point card first. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com in 2 minutes. I won't continue, it's time to go to bed when it's too late. Jing Mengmian asked such a question. Guangong, who was the hottest player in the fight with him, immediately said that he should continue quickly, while really 111 said that he had to recharge the card first. And since the mutant sea caterpillar was taken away by Fang Yun, the autistic riding pig chasing the sun said that he was going to sleep, and then left the team without waiting for everyone to reply. The last Fang Yun was left. After thinking for a few seconds, he typed in the team, after level 10, we can go to the sect of worship, we can add a friend first, and then decide whether to continue after everyone has finished worshipping the sect. How about it? That's okay, just listen to Jian Cheng, everyone will go to the sect first, and if you want to continue after finishing the event, you can form a group to continue. Hearing what he said, the cute-faced beasts also realized that everyone had just reached level 10 and had not yet joined the sect, so they made a decisive decision, and after adding friends with their teammates, they temporarily disbanded. After regaining his freedom again, Fang Yun didn't want to waste time, and directly manipulated his swordsman to leave Jianyi and go to the wilds of Jiangnan. He ran away immediately when he encountered a monster. After a few minutes, Fang Yun finally crossed the Jiangnan field and came to the city of Chang'an that he had always dreamed of. Standing next to the sect teleporter, Fang Yun did not rush to teleport, but silently opened the system menu interface. The system rewarded him with 1 million dream coins just now when he completed the first stage rookie incentive task, but he didn't need the money for the time being. The current Bianliang City Development Zone is only 8 hours in total. If this time is put in the future, I am afraid that a lot of people will reach the level limit of 29 on the server, but in 2005, when there was no level limit, it was almost impossible. Fantasy Westward Journey in early 2005 did not have so many novice tasks, not even automatic pathfinding. Players could only rely on boring monster spawning and infinite division gates in the early stage of upgrading, and they could only be operated manually throughout the whole process, because automatic battles took a few minutes. It will be added by Wangji after a month. The slow upgrade speed of players also means that the output of commodity items is extremely limited. The problem Fang Yun is facing now is that he has more than 1 million fantasy coins, but he has nothing to buy. So after thinking for a while, he decided to exchange all the 1 million dream coins rewarded by the system into cash through wealth withdrawal. He had just asked the system if he could do this. Although the other party didn't answer, he didn't deny it at the same time. For the other party, no negation was affirmation. Don't care about this stupid system that only releases tasks mechanically. Fang Yun pointed at the skill icon of fortune withdrawal in the system menu, and silently said use. Ding, wealth withdrawal is completed and critical attack is triggered. Congratulations to the host for getting 200 yuan in cash. Ding, congratulations to the host for triggering consumption rebate and appearing critical attack. The 2 million game coins will be returned to the host's game account in full. Please pay attention to checking. Do you want to be so fake? Listening to the system's ding 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 sound in his mind, Fang Yun in reality was stunned. The trigger probability of consumption rebate is 50%, and the probability of critical strike when rebate and cash withdrawal is 50%. Fang Yun is not very proficient in probability, but he thinks that the probability of triggering a double crit after triggering the rebate is not very high, but the magic is that he triggers all of them the first time he uses it. This kind of thing is completely inconsistent with his African chieftain's noble status. But Fang Yun is not Teacher Ma, he doesn't hate money at all, but the problem now is that he doesn't know how to spend the sudden extra money. After thinking about it, he tentatively aimed at the fortune withdrawal skill, and was going to try to see if he could continue to withdraw the 2 million fantasy coins that came back from the crit rebate. The 2 million fantasy coins suddenly disappeared, and he was stunned again. This is also possible. After a while, Fang Yun, who finally came to his senses, couldn't help but covered his chest and took a deep breath. This time, he made a tentative move with the mentality of teasing the system, and he actually got a huge gain that was completely beyond his expectations. If all this is true, then as long as he is lucky enough, the theory in fact, you can get unlimited RMB through wealth withdrawal. But after calming down, he also realized that his thoughts were a bit naive. Although the first wealth withdrawal triggers a double crit, the probability of this is actually very small, even if the crit is not triggered and only the rebate is triggered. Only half. It is unrealistic to want to obtain unlimited RMB through this method of gambling, but even so, it is enough for him to be ecstatic. Because he has realized that as long as he works hard to upgrade and earn money in Fantasy Westward Journey, the somewhat difficult goal he set before has gradually become a small goal. He touched the 4 extra 100 yuan bills in his trousers pocket. Satisfied, he didn't waste any more time. He tapped the mouse on the sect teleporter, and the game character instantly appeared in the Tang government. That's right. Fang Yun never hesitated for a moment in the choice of sect after returning from rebirth to entering Fantasy Westward Journey. In his last life, he was a loyal Datang believer. Even though the sect of the Datang government has been ups and downs with more than 10 years of version changes, he never gave up his Datang account. When he was reborn, his choice was still uncertain. Will change. Although he has played many other martial arts in his more than 10 years of gaming career, no matter how long or short he plays, those martial arts cannot give him the feeling of playing Datang. Perhaps the classic 3 swords are in the hearts of Datang players. Eternal romance. The swordsman who was controlling himself ran into the main hall in a hurry, watching the crowded mahjong room crowded with players who were preparing to apprentice. Fang Yun silently clicked F9 on the keyboard to block other players, and finally saw Cheng Yaojin's familiarity. To an unfamiliar figure. It's really troublesome to have to go to court every day as an official. As soon as he clicked Cheng Yaojin to talk, Fang Yun saw the nostalgic complaint of the other party. Without wasting time, he clicked on apprenticeship directly, and then quickly clicked in a series of confirmed options, and soon successfully entered the Tang government. The division can only be done after level 20, so Fang Yun only has 2 options left if he wants to level up. The first choice was to go to the gate of the palace to find someone to form a team to lead double entry to the Big Wild Goose Pagoda to farm monsters. But now that the area has just opened, countless explosive parties are probably upgrading overnight in the Big Wild Goose Pagoda. As a bright mine area, there are probably more people than strange people in the Big Wild Goose Pagoda, and the upgrading efficiency may be greatly reduced. The second option is to go to the wilds of Jiangnan or the border of the Tang dynasty to farm monsters. The monsters in these two places are all dark thunders, but you don't need to worry about someone robbing them, but the efficiency is less than that of the Big Wild Goose Pagoda. It's about a mile away. Just when he was thinking about where to continue to upgrade, the small fist in the lower right corner of the game suddenly flashed. Seeing the little fist flickering, Fang Yun's heart moved, and he opened it immediately, and found that it was indeed a message from the local tyrant. "Dude, are you still going to sweep the tower to level up?" Seeing the other party's question, Fang Yun subconsciously swept the list of friends, but saw that Guangong and Heli 111, who had made an appointment to continue leveling after worshipping the sect, were all offline. It seems that the savages are unreliable at any time. After silently complaining in his heart, Fang Yun sent a message back to the cute beast, "Go, where are you? The place where the palace leads the pair, come quickly, I'll add someone first." After replying a sentence, the cute beast did not continue to send messages, and Fang Yun did not waste time. After leaving the martial art, he ran to the weapon catalog and cloth shop to buy a set of level 10 white bards to wear on his body, and then quickly ran towards the palace. After arriving at the gate of the palace to find a team of cute-faced beasts to join, Fang Yun found that there were now 4 people in the team. In addition to him and the cute beasts who have already worshipped the Lion Mountain, there is also a Wu Tianji named King Guifei Yang and a Xiaoao student named Xiaoao Scholar. These two names are quite similar characteristic of the era. King Guifei Yang is Puchuo Mountain, and Xiaoao Scholar is Huazheng Temple. If you kill the plot, this configuration is definitely first class in terms of life saving. It's a pity that they are going to level up now. This kind of double support team is not very efficient, but Fang Yun doesn't care too much. At the beginning of 2005, the fantasy was still in the late stage of land reclamation, and players in this period had a relatively simple way of leveling up. As a big comparison with the memory of the next 10 years in his mind, he knows a lot of upgrade tips that others don't know. With such a big advantage, he is not in a hurry at all. There are a lot of people in the just opened area, and the cute-faced beasts only shouted a few times before someone joined the team. With the addition of this troll king named Moyan Fenchen, the team finally got together. As the captain, the cute-faced beast led the team to find Deputy General Ma, and then rushed to the Big Wild Goose Pagoda non-stop. As soon as he entered the Big Wild Goose Pagoda, Fang Yun was immediately surprised by the crowd of training teams inside. It's not that he has never played the new district, but in his impression, even the 2005 Fantasy Westward Journey new district in his previous life never had such a terrifying number of players. How popular is the Fantasy Westward Journey of this world? Silently sighing in his heart, Fang Yun took another look in the depths, but saw that the seats further inside were also overcrowded, and there was not even a place to stay. Whenever the time comes to refresh the monsters, these teams scramble to like evil spirits. After the cute-faced beasts tried to a few times and failed, they could only follow Fang Yun's advice and take the team to Datang. Border leveling. After being transported to the Tang dynasty border through the post station, everyone found that the team here is no less than that of the Big Wild Goose Pagoda. However, because the map is larger and the teams are more spread out, it does not seem to have the suffocation that comes from the Big Wild Goose Pagoda. Under the urging of the teammates, the cute-faced beast took the team a few steps and met immediately. Weird. Mutant baby number stare. As soon as he entered the battle, when he saw Fang Yun's mutated sea caterpillars Xiaoao, the scholar immediately typed and exclaimed. And Qing Wu Fei Yang couldn't help asking her doubts after seeing Xiaoao scholar's exclamation, "What is a mutant baby?" Obviously, this King Guifei Yang is completely new. Fortunately, players of this era are still friendly and willing to communicate. King Guifei Yang is very fast in the enthusiastic explanations of Xiaoao scholar and Moyan Daoshan. I understand the rarity and preciousness of mutant babies. As the owner of the mutant sea caterpillar, Fang Yun didn't speak any more except for number open smile in the team at the beginning, and the cute beast never said a word, and he didn't know that this guy was busy leading the team. There are other reasons for not having time to type. After satisfying the three teammates' strong desire to post the attributes of this sea caterpillar, Fang Yun called out the system and threw the datang number to the hosting assistant, and then clicked the dream icon on the desktop to prepare to go again. Practice a few trumpets. Because the level is too low to carry too much money, Fang Yun, who is afraid that he will get 5 million fantasy coins when he gets to level 20, but one of them will be disconnected, decides to practice a few trumpets to help himself share the game coins. These trumpets can not only help him save money, but also can be used to collect and sell items as warehouses. After all, there is no warehouse manager in the dream of this period, and it is easy to have no place to store too many things. He had a good idea, but after putting it into practice, he soon had to give up the plan. The reason is very simple. In this era, the internet cafes have too many computers to open the dream. If you don't know how to practice the trumpet, your big one may be stuck and disconnected. It's easy to lose more than the gain. As a last resort, after several attempts, he found that it was the safest for him to use dual-less computers for the time being, so he stopped wasting time and went to register a new account. He plans to train a Dragon Palace for the new account. Originally, he wanted to train a Huazheng temple to cooperate with his own Datang account in plots and killing rings, but considering that a spell output sect in the early stage is more in line with his needs, and the low level the monk was really too useless, and he finally chose the ruthless on-hook machine of Ryugu. Entering the game with a name, Fang Yun operated the Dragon Palace trumpet named Qiankaiyu and plunged straight into the East Bay after picking up the pet. He just found a team to join and started his leveling journey. Why don't you speak, Qian Cheng? Controlling the Dragon Palace trumpet to slash and kill the big turtles in the East Bay, Fang Yun habitually switched back to the Datang How to take a look, and happened to see the Puchuo mountain named King Guifei Yang who was typing and asking himself. This guy is like this, you don't need to pay attention to him. Before Fang Yun could reply, the cute-faced beast who led the team typed directly into the team, we have known each other since Donghai Bay, and I haven't seen him say a few words in 2 hours. It is estimated that he is an uncle who is not very good at typing, so don't make it difficult for others. So this is a. Qing Wufei Yang seemed to believe what the cute-faced beast said was true, and he didn't speak again after replying a sentence. This grandson. Seeing this cute beast in front of him, he started to arrange himself randomly. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Fang Yun also felt dumbfounded. In his previous life, he was barely old enough to be called an uncle, but now he is a serious green teenager. The sun at 7 or 8 in the morning. After thinking about it, Fang Yun typed a few words in the team chat box. Who did the uncle say? Of course it's about you. Seeing Fang Yun, who had been silent for a long time, suddenly spoke, the cute beast who didn't think too much about it immediately replied, but he quickly realized that he seemed to be slapped by the other party. I don't see that your kid is quite humorous. Although he was slapped back, the cute beast is an adult after all, so he didn't care about it, but continued typing and asked, by the way, I wanted to ask you just now, I don't think the baby you just sent didn't seem to be. Add some? Did you forget it or don't know how to add it? If not, I'll teach you. Number play cool. It's a good idea, but you don't need to teach me. I'll add it later. He casually rejected the other party's kindness. Fang Yun opened the pet interface and glanced at the mutant sea caterpillar who was already on the same level as himself but forgot to add attribute points because he was busy. After frowning and thinking for a few seconds, he finally added all the points to his strength. The attack of the mutant sea caterpillar after adding attributes has already reached 172 points, and his current damage has barely reached 150 points. In addition, he hasn't clicked a few skills yet, it can be said that a proper person is not as good as a favor. Just after adding attribute points to the mutant sea caterpillars, the team entered the battle again. As everyone was ready, the mutant sea caterpillars who had added points took the lead to attack and slammed into the opposite bandit. Crit! As a big 344 floated from the top of the bandit's head, the Green Forest hero who had just met and had not had time to say hello to everyone was taken away. Wow! Number stare. Number no. Damn it, what a perverted caterpillar. As the bandit flew far away, the little friends in the team were shocked one by one. At this stage, even if someone slashes a monster and triggers a critical strike, it may not be able to take a small monster away, but this furry little guy not an exaggerated critical strike damage in one bite, which is simply unreasonable. Brother Cheng, please sell this little guy to me. After coming back to his senses, the cute-faced beast once again strongly requested Fang Yun to sell him the mutant sea caterpillar. Although the others did not hug their thighs when they found the local tyrant like the previous group of teammates, they were also enthusiastically discussing in the team how much this superb and violent mutant sea caterpillar would sell for now. Once again, he ruthlessly rejected the purchase of the cute-faced beast. Fang Yun looked at the mutant sea caterpillar that had returned to him, and couldn't help but smile. In fact, he knew very well what was going on just now. When the team entered the battle, the time in the game happened to be at night, and everyone else, including their baby, had their physical damage reduced by 20% due to the fall of night. But his own mutant sea caterpillar is different. It not only has a killing skill that increases the critical strike rate by 10%, but also has a night combat skill that can ignore the damage at night. Coupled with its explosive attack aptitude bonus, it's not surprising to deal a 344 crit damage in the face of a thief with low health and low defense. The teammates are more amazed because of the bonus of the special status of the mutant baby. To put it in a bad way, even an ordinary sea caterpillar baby can deal such considerable damage as long as it has the same skills and qualifications. A critical attack from the mutant sea caterpillar was like a key that completely opened the conversation of the teammates. Even though Fang Yun, who was the victim, hardly spoke much, the others were still chatting enthusiastically. The leveling process of burning Shuang is actually quite boring. Even though the player's enthusiasm for Fantasy Westward Journey is rising at this stage, and the leveling process is also very chatty, Fang Yun, who has already experienced this, expresses little interest. While casually dealing with the various nonsense of his teammates, Fang Yun manipulated the Dragon Palace trumpet to seize the time to level up, preparing to upgrade the trumpet to level 10 before his tuba reached level 20. The function of Managed Assistant is very powerful. If you want to describe it, Managed Assistant has so far behaved like an automatic battle with artificial intelligence. In order to prevent players from making mistakes in the automatic battle function that Fantasy Westward Journey will launch in the near future, it gives players 3 seconds of reaction time when shooting each round. It stands to reason that this is a very user-friendly setting, but it turns out that at least in the early or even middle stage of Fantasy, this is a feature that many players hate. There are 2 reasons. The first is that the early players are relatively simple, most of them only play one number, and they are used to manual work whether they are doing tasks or killing monsters. The 3-second delay in automatic battles was a waste of points for players at the time, so many people just told them not to hang up when they formed a team and leveled up. And players really hate hanging up because of the second reason. After Wanji launched the on-hook combat function, many studios sensed business opportunities from it, so they began to sign up trumpets for batch on-hook operations for profit. In order to limit this kind of behavior of the studio, Wanji added the picture verification when hanging up in a later update, and it is from this update that the hanging party has become an existence that all players hate. This on-hook picture verification is like this: when a player is in the on-hook state, the system will jump out of the image verification from time to time, and as long as the image verification is out of the on-hook state, the on-hook state will be cancelled automatically, and the normal operation can be resumed only by clicking on the image verification. Players who normally hang up will naturally click after seeing the picture verification. What makes people speechless is that the design of the picture verification link at that time was simply a mess. Many players even clicked more and more when they were unfamiliar. Network errors are directly kicked offline. And those players who go to do other things after clicking hang up are even more pitiful. After jumping out of the picture to verify that the on-hook state is cancelled, because the hang-up person is not at the computer or cuts out to watch a movie and play other things, the players of the entire team need to wait for 30 seconds every round until the countdown is completely over before they can shoot. If a battle is a stalemate, the entire team may be wasted a lot of time by a hang-up player, which is simply a fighter in the Pit Father world. Therefore, under the operation of Wanji, the automatic battle of fantasy Westward journey has become a tasteless function. Normal players don't use it very much, and players who hang up don't dare to use it with confidence. It's ridiculous to think about it. However, Managed Assistant does not have these problems at all. There is no 3-second delay to kill obsessive-compulsive disorder, and there is no such or such unscientific operation. In short, the behavior logic of Management Assistant almost completely inherits Fang Yun's operating habits. But a player with more than 10 years of operating experience. The time just passed between Fang Yun's two windows. The next minute and a second passed. As the real time came to 10 o'clock in the evening, Fang Yun's datang number finally rose to level 20, and the Dragon Palace trumpet also rose to level 20 at the same time. Level 10. Ding! The second phase of the newcomer incentive task has been completed. Reward: 5 million fantasy coins have been issued, please pay attention to the host. Ding! The third phase of the newcomer incentive task release, the host level reaches level 30. Reward: 10 million fantasy coins. After silently accepting the 5 million dream coins rewarded by the system and taking over the third phase of the mission, Fang Yun, who earned 400 yuan in cash plus more than 5 million dream coins in just 10 hours after starting the server, found that he seemed to have gradually adapted to this kind of happiness. Worried, he decisively called out the system menu and selected wealth withdrawal. As the system prompted him to get rebates again, Fang Yun twitched the corners of his mouth and found that he didn't seem to really adapt. What made him not sure whether to be happy or disappointed was that neither the rebate nor the cash withdrawal triggered a critical attack this time. He touched the 9 brand new bills in his pocket, and then glanced at the more than 500 lying quietly in his datang number. One fantasy coin, Fang Yun felt that he finally had some confidence. Confident people are usually very aggressive when they do things, and his way of expressing his enthusiasm is to directly ask the network manager to ask for a bowl of instant noodles, and by the way, add a ham sausage and a bottle of Coke. Rejecting the invitation of the cute beast to continue to burn and level up, Fang Yun and the other 3 teammates added friends and got out of the car, while operating the Dragon Palace trumpet to apprentice, while operating the datang number to run to the teacher's door non-stop. Go! Book friends who think it's okay to write, please make a favorite, thank you very much. Starting from level 20, you can become a teacher, and being a teacher is also one of the main ways for players to level up in this era. After all, the experience is not low without losing money. As long as you make some preparations in advance, the efficiency is even better than burning doubles. Even higher. System 08 has sold 500 point cards at the price of 500 points per point at the point card transaction notary in the backyard of Chong'an Mansion. Yep. After inadvertently swiping through a system prompt in the chat box, Fang Yun suddenly stopped walking towards the teacher's gate. Why is someone selling some cards now? He glanced again and found that the dazzling Kung Fu system reminded someone to sell point cards on consignment. He finally determined that someone was really selling 500 point cards for 250,000 apiece, and then, he was confused. In his impression, the level limit for selling point cards in Fantasy Westward Journey is 10, while the limit for purchasing point cards is level 40 or above. This impression has almost run through his game career in his previous life for more than 10 years. Since the purchase of a point card requires the player to reach level 40 or above, it is impossible for anyone to sell a point card on the first day of the new era of the later generations, because it is absolutely impossible for anyone to buy it. No. Suddenly, Fang Yun, who realized something, slapped his head, and suddenly realized, this is the beginning of 2005. Who knows if there is any level limit for the Fantasy Westward Journey trading card at this time? Realizing that he was almost misled by the inertia of his thinking and almost missed an excellent opportunity to find a leak, Fang Yun immediately controlled his datang number, turned his head and ran towards the Qin Mansion's backyard. Fang Yun, who flew to the Qin Mansion's backyard, looked at the few players standing sparsely inside. Without much hesitation, he directly clicked on the NPC for purchasing cards to check the current card sales. The card sales interface in this period was still very simple. The color of the point cards of each denomination was different, and they were placed in the sales box irregularly. Taking a glance, Fang Yun found that there was only one color of point cards in the sale box at this time, which was the green 500 point card. The selling price was 250,000. There were a total of 4 cards. It looked like they were sold by the same player. Don't miss it when you pass by, 500 point cards are only 250,000. With 250,000 points, you can take home a point card worth 50 yuan, everyone come and see. Number applaud, don't miss it when you pass by, 500 point cards are only 250,000. With 250,000 points, you can take home a point card worth 50 yuan, everyone come and see. Number applaud, don't miss it when you pass by, 500 point cards are only 250,000. With 250,000 points, you can take home a point card worth 50 yuan, everyone come and see. Number applaud, just when Fang Yun was about to click to buy directly, a swordsman in green standing not far from him suddenly shouted 3 times in a row. Waiting for him to take a closer look, my dear, it turns out that this guy has not only swiped 3 times in a row at the moment, but has also swiped once in the world and sect, for fear that others will not know that he needs money urgently. It's a pity, no matter how the guy named Lonely Swordsman Ashue screams and sells hoarsely, the 4-point cards in the sale box still remain unmoved, as if they were forgotten here by everyone. To be honest, 250,000 fantasy coins to buy a 500-point card is a profit. Even if Fang Yun has more than 10 years of gaming experience in later generations, he has never encountered such a nearly free point card a few times. But the problem is that the highest level of players at this stage is estimated to be more than 20 and 30, and players at levels 2 and 30 simply cannot get 250,000 fantasy coins. Even if someone has practiced a few more numbers and put them together, it is still unknown whether the other party is willing to use it to buy point cards. Everything is still the same. New district. Ignoring Ashue, the lonely swordsman who still kept swiping the screen to sell cards, Fang Yun thought for a few seconds, and then directly clicked the point card in the sale box to choose to buy. Transaction announcement: Qian Cheng successfully purchased the 500 point card sold by 08. After a few seconds. Transaction announcement: Qian Cheng successfully purchased the 500 point card sold by 08. After spending 500,000 to buy 2 500 point cards, he didn't get the system's rebate and crit alerts. Fang Yun didn't care too much and just turned around and left, ignoring the lonely swordsman Ashue who followed him and told him to wait. It seemed that Fang Yun was reluctant to chat with people. The lonely swordsman Ashue stopped after a few steps. Immediately afterwards, Fang Yun found that his friend icon flashed. Brother, you bought my 2 cards just now, right? In this period, Fantasy Westward Journey has not added the temporary friend function. The other party obviously sent him a message directly after adding him as a friend unilaterally. What's up? The so-called wealth is not exposed, Fang Yun took out 500,000 fantasy coins in one breath to buy some cards. This kind of behavior is nothing at other times, but in this period of poor people, it seems to stand out from the crowd, which is why he didn't take a breath. One of the reasons for buying all 4-point cards. It's okay, no problem. Fang Yun's indifference made the lonely swordsman Shui feel a little inexplicably cramped. For fear that he would accidentally anger the other party, Yu Kanshu www.yuyuganshu.com hurriedly explained, "It's such a big brother, I just want to ask if you have any more money? If so, can you buy the 2 remaining cards from me?" Seeing that the other party was not asking about the source of his dream coins, but simply wanted him to buy all the remaining cards, Fang Yun relaxed a little bit and typed back, "There is no money, and what are you doing with the money in such a hurry? Buy a baby." Seeing Lin Cheng's question, the lonely swordsman Shui immediately replied excitedly, "I saw someone running with a yellow ball just now, I caught up and asked a bit before I realized that it turned out to be a rare baby. I asked him if he could sell it to me, but I didn't expect that the other party would actually sell it, but the asking price was a bit high, asking for 1 million fantasy coins. But I later counter-offered it to 950,000 he. Bubble? 1 million fantasy coins? You're not afraid of killing people with a knife?" Knowing that the other party was so anxious to sell the point card was just to buy a bubble, Fang Yun couldn't help but sigh. Especially after learning that the seller dared to ask for 1 million dream coins, but the lonely swordsman Shui did not directly refuse, but returned to 950,000, and he was speechless. The price of 1 million fantasy coins is not too exaggerated if it is placed in the normal zone server. After all, according to the point card prices of those zone servers, 1 million fantasy coins are worth more than 10 yuan. But the problem is that they are now in Bianliang City, which has just opened for half a day. At this time, the 1 million RMB is at least 100 yuan. The seller who asked for 1 million at the beginning was probably more of a perfunctory lone swordsman, Shui, but he didn't want the product but took it seriously, and even seriously cut the price.